Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Radar. So, look, today I want to talk about something with everybody. Anybody that's listening, anybody that wants to listen. I hope that they do. You know what I mean? A lot of people now are strong minded, but there's some people in life that aren't very strong minded. And they feel a little guilt in their life, feel a little down and out. People like that, we don't want them to feel that way. So, like, today I want to talk about unleashing your potential. There's a lot of ways that you can crack and unleash your potential because you are strong. You are strong-minded. Even when your mind feels weak, that's just because your emotions make you feel vulnerable. So, you have to learn how to act differently, especially when emotions try to come in the mix of it. So, look, the whole point of this is the power of self-reflection. You really want to be able to self-reflect and know the strong points and to know the weaknesses that's going on in your life. So look, you have to definitely understand your state. Do you understand where you are at in life, what you are doing? Are you working somewhere? Why are you doing it? Is it just for the money? So if it's just for the money, um, do you want to go somewhere else? Do you feel like you're happy working? You really want to self-reflect on what you're doing. You want to pay attention to all the odds, the ends, because you have to set realistic goals. In life, you really have to set goals because if you don't set goals and you don't understand where you're going to go, where your next move is, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, you're not going to get anywhere. You really want to self-reflect on all the negative things and all the positive things. You want to focus more on the positive things. The only time you really want to look at the negative things that are going on in your life, a lot of times it could be weighing you down. Like I said, emotions get in the way. You don't want to feel that way. So you have to train your mind. You have to make it to where your mind does not have time to think about those negative things. Your mind needs to be so set on the target. You really want to scope what you're going to do, what your next move is. What are you eating? What are you consuming? Do you enjoy what you're eating? Does it make you feel healthy after you eat it? A lot of things in life can weigh us down, and our minds can really easily get distracted. You cannot let your mind get distracted. You have to stay clear on the target, and you have to keep moving. You can move all day, but sometimes when you're moving, it's like you're walking on a treadmill. You're walking and you're walking, you're moving forward. But are you moving forward or are you just moving in place? Sometimes people get that mixed up. You don't want to be moving in just one place. You want to be moving. You want to be going. And I don't mean walking or going somewhere like that. I mean going somewhere in life, knowing what you want. It's not about what other people think about what you want to do in life. If it's something that you want to do and you really feel it in your heart, you're really eager to do it, you're going to do it. And you do whatever it takes to do it. If you enjoy doing that, you're going to do it. But a lot of times, people are working so much and they're so used to putting all their time, effort, hours into working at a regular job. They never have time to think about what they really want to do. So if anyone out there is listening to this right now, I really want you to self-reflect on yourself, your life, what you're doing, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what you have to do, what's really needed to be doing. You don't want to just be doing something just because you got to do it or you need to do it. You need to do it because you know why you're doing it. A lot of people get that confused, especially the way I'm explaining it. But you have to embrace growth in your mindset. You have to. You have to cultivate to have a positive mindset. You want to have a positive mindset. That's the number one goal right there. You want to be positive about everything you're doing. You don't want to be doing something. You don't want to be like, man, it sucks. I got to do this and that. Sometimes you do. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with them catastrophes. But a catastrophe is pretty much like a challenge, and you're going to overcome it. Especially if you're dead fucking spot on and you know what you want. You have to know what you want. You have to know what you want to do. And you can't just think about yesterday or tomorrow. You got to think about 2 years from now. Are the people in your life? You know, do you got kids? You have to know what you want to do. You don't want to just sit around and just get old and miss out on all the things you wanted to do just because you're scared to take that chance. If it's something you're hesitant about doing, don't do it. But if it's something that you constantly think about and you're like, man, I really want to do this. Like I've been really wanting to draw this picture. But every time I talk about doing it, I don't actually act and do it. I just talk about it. Try to focus on when you talk about doing something, actually do it. You know what I mean? Don't talk about doing nothing negative. Talk about doing something positive, something that could just set you further in life, to make you feel like you're somewhat of accomplishing something. I mean, you want to accomplish something within 3 years of whatever time and day you're in right now. You want to accomplish something, a few things in 3 years. Because a lot of people are accomplishing things in very short amount of time, and other people are not understanding how they're doing it, how they're making it to where they are, how they're even accomplishing what they're accomplishing. And they're doing that because they're putting the time, the effort, the dedication. They're consistent. You have to be consistent. It's just like going to work at like a construction job. You know, a lot of times when you're doing something, you got to stay consistent when you're doing it. You know, when you're setting up a deck, you're building a deck, them boards can be 16 inches apart from each other. So you got to be consistent. You got to make sure it's right every step. You don't want to have that first button on your shirt wrong, because once you button up the rest of them, they're going to be wrong. They're not going to be right. All because of that first button. Sometimes you really have to go back and think about that first move that you made that put you in the position that you are in right now. You have to think about that. You have to have a good attitude also, because success has a big impact on your attitude. If you don't have good attitude and you're trying to succeed in something, especially if you don't have good attitude in doing what you're doing while trying to succeed in something, you don't want to have a shitty attitude about it. Because if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. But if you do, and you have a good attitude, even when you don't really want to do it, and you have a good attitude, but you know it's going to set you further in life, do it. Have a good attitude while you're doing it too. Have a good attitude about you succeeding in life, everything you do. You want to succeed, and you want to feel in your mind that you are going to succeed. You want to know deep down inside in your mind, your body, and your soul that you want to do it. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate it, because that's what could happen. And that's how easy our minds could just get free. Because once that free space comes in, sometimes it's not healthy. But also, it's not good to overpower your mind and to overdo it. You don't want to have too much things going on. You want to stay clear, and you want to be focused, and you want to understand what you're thinking about, what you're going to do. You have to overcome negativity and self-doubt. You cannot doubt yourself. You cannot doubt any move you make, because if it's something that you want to do, you have to believe in it 100%, and you have to enjoy doing it. You have to. It just seems like you have to embrace your growth. Embrace growing. Embrace your mindset to grow. Embrace on not being comfortable, especially if you're a man. We're not meant to be comfortable, because if we're too comfortable, we're just going to sit around and be fucking lazy and just think nothing matters. You don't want to feel that way. You know, sometimes being uncomfortable pushes us, helps us succeed past our limits. We want to exceed past our limits, because honestly, in life, there's no limitation. There's not. It's unlimited things you could do, things you could become. If you're feeling creative, get creative, man. You got to really get into that zone. You got to get creative, and you got to be consistent, and you got to be dedicated with it. If you're going to start a business, you got to be dedicated from day one. You got to. You got to always look at the strong points and the low points. You don't want to have weak points overcoming all your strong points. You want your strong points to overcome every weakness that comes, because all your strong points will overcome that weakness. You can't be weak. You can't be weak-minded. You cannot be vulnerable either. You cannot let emotions get in the way. You have to remain focused. You have to understand your next move. You got to prioritize tasks effectively. You want to create a daily routine, as I said earlier. You do. You want to create a daily routine. A healthy daily routine. Not a bad, toxic, non-healthy, no purpose. You don't want to do that. What you want is to be dedicated in what you're doing. You want to have a healthy mindset when you start your day and when you get ready to go to sleep. You want to have a healthy mindset, and you want to know what you're going to do the next day. You do. You want to. You have to make tasks every day. If you got free space, and you're one to not want to just sit around, you should really want to exceed, do something different, or work harder at what you're doing right now in the present. You cannot give up. You got to steer clear to your target. You got to stay on that target, and you got to be locked on it. You have to understand that there's stops on the way before you can even get to that target. It's just like stopping and getting fucking gas at the store before you can get back on the road and keep going where you're going. Sometimes you gotta stop and get gas, grab some fucking jerky. And self-reflect. Reflect on what you're doing. And you really got to build resilience in the face of challenges. You have to understand and embrace your failures. You have to. You have to develop coping mechanisms. You have to. You have to figure out how you can cope and cope in a healthy way. You really want to learn from all the setbacks that happen in your life. You do. You want to learn from the setbacks that happen in your life. You got to have motivation and you got to maintain it. And you have to be able to control it also. You don't want to get too excited. You really just want to steer clear on what you're doing. You got to cultivate your passions and your purpose. If you can't find your purpose, you can find your purpose. But right now, you just haven't found it. But you will find your purpose. But sometimes you got to go through failures to find your purpose, to figure out what you want to do. Really, life will have you feeling like your purpose is to do what you've been doing for the last 4 years, 5 years. But really, your purpose jumps at you like the following year and you're like, what the fuck? You're like, I thought I wanted to do this, but now I'm doing this and it's really working out. Like, if I wouldn't have started doing this, I would have never started doing this. So you gotta be used to being uncomfortable, because sometimes you're scared on what's ahead of you. But you can't be. You gotta be ready to face it. And that, my friend, is fears. You want to face your fears. And a lot of times, fears are more than just like a fucking scary movie or a scary movie scene. Getting chased by Michael Myers. Fear of failure. Fear of having bad grades. Fear of getting in trouble. Fear of moving forward. Fear of anything in life, and you don't want to fear that because you want to face it. Just like any problem, any challenge. You fucking face it, and you fucking walk right at it. And you say, you know what? Get the fuck out of the way. Because I don't fear you, and I don't fear nothing. You have to draw inspiration from successful individuals. I mean, you gotta get inspired somehow. A lot of times, your inspiration should be you. But in order for you to find that inspiration, you gotta look at other people. And you gotta really learn from their positives and negatives, you know? You don't want to live life the bad way that they're living it. You want to learn from it. That's why it's good to have friends and brothers and people to talk to, because you can learn from others' mistakes. And a lot of times I just learn from, like, growing up, like, looking up my older family members. They're just, I learn from their mistakes, and I just know not to live that way because it's not going to work out. You have to embrace challenges, and you gotta face your fears, and you have to know you're gonna fucking win. And you can't doubt. You can't have no self-doubt. You got to self-reflect on your life. Everything you're doing, you have to. And you always need at least 15 minutes to yourself a day, And that's not 15 minutes to just go to the bathroom, step away for a second. That's 15 minutes to actually sit down and clear your mind and release all that negativity. Take a few deep breaths. Have a good day, You can't fear nothing. You can't fear to even have a bad day. You have to be positive and you have to manifest. And you have to change your words because certain things that we say is like casting little spells on ourselves. Like when you say, "Oh, I don't feel good." Of course you don't feel good because you just say you don't feel good. You have to feel good. And if you don't feel good, you got to overcome it. Usually if you don't feel good, it's because you didn't drink enough water. You ain't eating right. Or you could have got sick from a food you ate. Regardless, it's from eating food. I'm not hating eating food, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly don't eat all day. I don't eat but maybe once to twice a day. A lot of times I just consume water and coffee. I hardly ever eat lunch. I just don't feel like I feel like when I eat it just weighs me down. Cuz that's what it does. When you eat, it weighs you down. I guess I like to eat when I know I'm going to be chilling and want to go to sleep later, but I eat when I really need to eat. You know what I mean? And when I eat good. I don't overstuff myself. I don't want to do that. There's no point in that. You definitely want to eat healthy because what you're consuming says a lot, especially on your lifestyle. I'm smoking a blunt right now, and I really just want to motivate others, inspire others. You can't feel you can't feel like you have no inspiration. You can't feel like you got a block, cuz that's when you just start jotting stuff down and you think about it. And you definitely want to have good communication. Just want everybody to unleash their potential because it's possible. It's very possible. The way I look at it, we're going to die one day anyways. So you definitely want to unleash your potential and do everything that you want to do. And I hope it's something that you want to do and you actually want to do something, not just do nothing. A lot of people my age, man, they don't even want to work. It's crazy. Like, a lot of people don't even want to work. And then when they want to come to work, they just want to show up. They don't want to come there to learn, to care, to know the positive and negatives, the rules and regulations. A lot of them just want to come in, show up, and leave. That's it. People my age. I'm talking about people my age. Kids in my generation, they just don't want to work as much. And I noticed that because been doing, I've worked at places, concrete companies and shit, and a lot of people my age you wouldn't see. I'd be working with a lot of old guys, and they'd be like, "Man, it's hard to find any help nowadays." And I'm just like, "Wow." I know when I was 20, 21, I was hungry, but I don't think I've ever been more hungry than I am now for everything that I want. I'm so motivated. You have to manifest what you want, and that's all I do. Manifestation is key in my life. I manifest all the good things, and that's why all the good things come in my life. I'm blessed. I manifest what I want, and I stay clear on the target. I don't get my eye off that target. And I hope for them stops at those gas stations. I want to stop and get gas. I want to fuel up because you got to keep your cup full. You can't let that fucker get empty. You can't. You want to invest your money. You got to find something to fucking invest in. You got to find a way to make some passive income. You have to be from having to just work somewhere. You have more to life than just fucking working, going to sleep, coming home and eating. You have more to life. I'm telling you, you fucking do. You just don't realize it. You don't see the bigger picture. Don't get stuck in that fucking dome. You have to think outside of the dome. Think outside of the box. Think outside of the window. You can't be in that fucking window. You gotta be outside of the window. You want to be on the outside of the lens, not inside. I'm telling you. Take care of your body. Exercise. It's a good way to detox any negative things going on in your life. Anybody likes to meditate or just never meditate and want to just try it, you should just try it. Do it. Meditate. Meditate for at least 15, 20 minutes a day. It's kind of like when people do yoga, you know what I mean? But it's good. And you got to have a good mindset. You got to control your mind, and you got to stay focused, and you got to steer clear away from forgot what I was going to say. It's fucked up.